Walmart is famous for affordable prices, but the CEO of the world's largest retailer announced his company will have to start charging you more. That's because of President Trump's tariffs. That's raising new worries about inflation and how it could impact you.
It does come with some breaking news happened just a few moments ago. Walmart now saying it must raise prices to deal with the cost of tariffs. So let's bring in NBC's senior business correspondent, Christine Roman.
The prices are just too on the high side. It's on the high side, especially for middle class, low income earners. It's tough. When you have 2-3 children.
It began with a whisper, then exploded like a freight train. The company that built its empire on Made in America shelves, low prices, and heartland loyalty is now facing a crossroads that no one in Washington saw coming. Walmart, the world's largest retailer, just fired a shot back at Donald Trump's tariff war, and the fallout is seismic. The headlines told one story. But what happened behind closed doors, that is where everything unraveled. Because while Walmart has not shut down all of its U.S. stores, it has just made a move that signals something far more dangerous. A pivot, a realignment, and a very loud message to Donald Trump. Your tariffs are bleeding us dry, and we are done waiting. Before we continue, hit that like button to help us beat the YouTube algorithm and to show your support. Here is what you need to know. In early May of 2025, as Trump ramped up his trade war again, Walmart's executives quietly launched a massive strategic shift. It was not a tweet. It was not a press conference. It was a full-blown restructuring of their global logistics strategy. And buried deep inside that plan, a bombshell Walmart would begin drastically expanding sourcing and operations abroad to avoid Trump's new tariffs. The term leaving America might not mean shutting down all stores, but the economic effect is the same. Walmart is offshoring more production, more suppliers, and more capital than at any point in its history. Not because it wants to, but because Trump's tariffs are choking the company's business model. At the center of the crisis, the so-called tsunami tariffs Trump launched in April, a universal 10% tariff on all imports, plus up to 30% for countries like China, Vietnam, and India. These duties hit Walmart directly in its most critical sectors: electronics, tools, apparel, groceries, and consumer goods. Within weeks, executives had seen enough. Import costs had risen 20 to 30%. Consumers were already complaining about price hikes, and store managers across the country were warning that demand was softening. And then it happened. Walmart quietly began rerouting supply chains. Manufacturing orders that once went to Arkansas or North Carolina were now heading to Mexico and Southeast Asia. Shipments were being redirected, contracts were being rewritten, and internal memos made it clear. Survival required agility, and agility meant going global fast. And when Trump found out, he exploded. Before we continue, hit that subscribe button to show your support for the channel. Multiple sources confirmed that Trump, in a closed-door meeting, screamed that Walmart had betrayed the American people. He threatened to revoke federal contracts, called for a boycott, and even floated the idea of investigating the company for disloyalty to U.S. workers. The tantrum was so intense that aides reportedly had to calm Trump down before his next public appearance. But the damage was done. Walmart, for the first time in its modern history, had publicly defied a Republican president. And not just any president. The man who claimed he would bring jobs back, who ran on promises of American-made prosperity, now stood face-to-face with the economic monster he created. Walmart's financials tell the real story. First quarter profits fell short. Analysts had predicted a modest gain. Instead, tariffs blew a hole in the bottom line. CEO Doug McMillon admitted, quote, "Tariffs are still too high. We cannot absorb them forever. Consumers will feel it." That was not a warning. That was a surrender. Because Walmart does not just sell groceries and TVs. It is a barometer of working-class America. It touches every zip code, every demographic. And when Walmart says it is feeling pain, the entire economy is trembling. And now it is shifting. Behind the scenes, Walmart has launched a new initiative called Grow With Us, focused on investing in overseas partnerships to diversify away from tariff-heavy supply routes. At the same time, the company is accelerating automation in U.S. stores to offset labor costs, meaning fewer cashiers, fewer stockers, fewer American jobs. So yes, Walmart is still here, but the writing is on the wall. The company is repositioning itself for a future where Made in America is a liability, not a selling point. And that shift has triggered alarm bells across Washington. Senators from both parties have called emergency meetings. Trade officials are scrambling to contain the fallout. And Wall Street is already adjusting. Share prices dipped initially, then rebounded as investors realized something terrifying. Walmart may become more profitable by abandoning the American supply chain. That is right. The company that once defined American commerce now finds its greatest opportunity in leaving it behind. And the hypocrisy is thick. Trump spent years claiming victory on trade. He said tariffs would protect U.S. workers. He said companies would come back. He said the economy would be rebuilt from the ground up. Instead, his policies are driving companies out. Do you remember Harley-Davidson in 2018? They shifted production overseas to avoid European retaliation. Trump attacked them, called them un-American, or General Motors. They closed plants in Ohio and Michigan, citing rising costs from steel and aluminum tariffs. Trump said they were a disgrace, or mid-continent nail in Missouri. They lost half their workforce after steel tariffs crushed their supply chain. They begged the government for relief. It never came. Now it is Walmart. And if the world's largest retailer cannot survive Trump's trade war without going global, what hope do smaller businesses have? Already, logistics firms are reporting that more than 100 U.S.-based manufacturers have begun moving operations to Mexico or Vietnam in the last 60 days. Auto suppliers, electronics vendors, furniture makers, all quietly following Walmart's lead. And Trump? He is still tweeting, still yelling about tariffs, still insisting that everything is fine. But inside the stores, shoppers are seeing the truth. Price tags are rising, inventories are shrinking, and associates are being told to brace for staffing changes. This is not just a Walmart problem. It is a policy failure with ripple effects in every direction. The towns that rely on Walmart distribution centers are facing job cuts. The local vendors who used to supply Walmart are losing contracts. The transportation companies that move Walmart's goods are cutting hours, and consumers are paying more for less. This is the real cost of tariff nationalism. It does not create jobs, it strangles them. And now even Walmart, the titan of American retail, is quietly choosing to break ranks. They will not say it publicly. They cannot afford the political backlash, but their actions speak volumes. They are hedging, protecting, preparing. Because in a world where the rules can change with one tantrum, loyalty is a liability. And Trump's tantrum is not over. Sources have confirmed that Trump is considering a new round of tariffs. This time targeting any company that shifts production abroad. He wants to tax re-imported goods at punitive rates. He wants to punish betrayal. But experts warned that such a move would backfire again. It would spark more inflation, more job cuts, and possibly spark legal challenges from trade partners who see it as economic warfare. And if Walmart retaliates, if the company decides to halt future store expansion, if it starts testing an online-first strategy that pulls investment out of small-town America, the fallout will be catastrophic. Because unlike Boeing or General Motors, Walmart is not one company. It is the economic backbone of thousands of communities. And if that backbone bends, the collapse will not be slow. It will be immediate. This is the moment. The moment where the myth of economic nationalism meets the reality of global capitalism, where slogans meet supply chains, where politics meets pricing, and where the people who believe the promise are left holding the receipt. Trump's tariffs were supposed to bring jobs back. Instead, they are pushing America's largest employer to look elsewhere. The tantrum has been thrown. The damage is done. And the silence from the White House is deafening.